Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week I'm trying to throw a bit of light on everything I do. See you in a minute. So we've got another little milestone, 300th video. So once again, thanks to all of you for the support and comments. It has made a difference. Without the support and the channel getting subscribers and views, I wouldn't bother doing it, and if I didn't do it I'd probably do even less work, because it has been a spur to getting things done over the last 3 years or so. So thanks again, once again, to you all. This week I'm trying to get a little bit of light onto the work that I'm doing on various machines, because as I'm getting more and more decrepit, the eyesight isn't so good, and certainly for fine work on things like the bandsaw, it's nice to get some decent light close in as opposed to the overhead stuff that I've got in here. So let's go and see what I'm using. Right, so on the bench today I've got a little lamp that I bought to put on the bandsaw. Got it from China off eBay. It's a few pound, £4 or £5, I can't remember what exactly, but it's magnetic and therefore should be able to pop on the side of the machine, switch it on and off and light the thing up, and you can adjust it to wherever you want it. Now there is a problem in as much as it comes with a cheap nasty plug on it, which is of no use to me whatsoever. So the obvious thing to do would be to cut it off and put a normal plug on, and I would do that except for the fact that I'm always short of socket outlets in here anyway. I want to use it on the bandsaw, I want to use it on the pillar drill. It may even be useful on the chop saw, it may be useful on the Triton belt and spindle sander. It may be useful on the lathe. Now I could keep buying them and putting them on things and keep having more plugs and sockets in the house to have to plug in, but I'm going to get round it by sort of solving both issues, the fact I haven't got a plug here and the fact that it's not sort of multi-purpose and will just block up all the outlets, by using some of the little click plugs and sockets that I've got hundreds of from railway stuff that I've done in the past. These have all been used, and what you get essentially is a 3-pin capable of taking mains voltage, 250 volts rated. They're a small plug there that fits into a socket there, and they just click together. Now that one's got a pin adjustment, no, that one's got the pin adjustment on it. That is how they normally go together. So what I'm intending to do is to effectively, because I've got so many of these, I'm going to wire these sockets into all the appliances that I'm likely to want them on, into their mains, feed into the pillar drill, the bandsaw and anything else as and when I might want it. I could always build a fly lead to a mains plug anyway, but the intention is that I can then just plug this in, stick it on the bandsaw and it'll work, and then take it off and put it on the pillar drill when I want it. Uses up some of these, saves having to buy loads of these that I don't want to do, and it should solve the problems. It is magnetic, so that's nice. The only problem is with that won't be any good on like the belt and spindle sander, or for that matter the chop saw, I don't think. But there's nothing to stop me just sticking a metal plate on with a bit of aldite or something, and it will stick to that. So I'll do that. I'm going to chop this plug off. I'm going to adapt the bandsaw today and put a socket on it. We'll see how that works, and then we can move on from there. So let's get started. First thing to do is to chop the plug off, because we don't want that. What I'm also going to do is to pinch probably about that much wire off, because I haven't got anything suitable at the moment. That will wire in the socket from the bandsaw. And we've got a socket. Excuse the noise, I think I've got a pigeon on the roof. First thing I'm going to do is undo the on-off switch, because I suspect that's where the power is coming in. I want to tap into the main power in so that the light will always work whether the bandsaw is switched on or not. Really must get and clean this. The bed is getting a little bit like a bit of surface rust on it, which I need to clean and wax, but not been used for a while. So that brings us the main wiring. Obviously it is unplugged, and what we have is the incoming main supply, which is where I want to tap into, which is conveniently labelled in, which is that one. Yes, because the mains power is coming in through a grommet and a cable into there. So I'm going to tap into that and then take a wire out to the socket. And the best place I think to mount a socket is probably on the side. I'm going to strip the wires. Probably would have been easier to have got new crimp terminals put on here, but don't think I've got anything suitable at the moment. And then we take our little bit of cable that I've robbed from the socket and do the same. Right, so that's heat shrunk each individual connection, wrapped each individual connection in insulating tape, and then wrapped the whole thing in insulating tape. So that's pretty much made that secure. What I've got to do now is get that piece of cable out. So I'm just going to drill a hole in the side of the casing to get that through, and then we can move on from there. Now I've got a small grommet to go in there as well, because the last thing we want is any other cables to chafe. But it's just a matter of finding the right size hole for the grommet. I think that'll go in. Yeah, that way it stops any risk of the cable chafing on bare metal. So then we can just feed the spare cable out through that hole, and then we can get ready to fix the other part. Struggling with this a bit. I've got some pliers. What I could really do is a light to see what I was doing, but it's something to do with chickens and eggs, I think. There we go, that's got that there. Nice tight fit. There's no need for any cable restraint on this anyway, because it's never going to come under any tension. It'll go straight into a socket, which is the next thing to do. So now all we need to do is strip the wires on that. We've got to fix that to the casing. I was trying to avoid putting the outlet sticking up in the air because it'll just get full of dust and muck, but I suppose I could put it facing backwards like that, and then I can at least get at the nuts and bolts. I think I'll do that. Just mark these two positions, and we can put screws through. Well, I've got some M4 nuts and bolts, which if I can get them in there and hold them, which will be the next trick, I think. The nuts have got like a flattened out back with a serration in it, so it should be a straightforward, no need for a shake-proof washer or anything. I don't think there'll be too much problem. I mean, there's a bit of vibration in it, but we'll keep an eye on it. I'll just pop the cover back on now. That's done. All we need to do then is connect the socket up to the power. We'll put the plug on the light and we'll test it and see if it works. That's it. So pop the spare cable back inside, put that outlet there, screw the cover back on, and hopefully, as I say, all I need to do now is put sockets on anything else that I want to put them on. We don't have to worry about getting any more lamps. So we'll try this. Let's clear the decks a bit and have a go. So first thing is to make sure the machine itself still works. I've plugged it in, switched it on, I think went bang. And that's working fine. So next we can pop our lamp on wherever we think it might be useful. I'm guessing he's probably about there, I don't know. Plug it in. And again, nothing's gone bang. And there we are, we've got our light. That gives me a much more easily focused means of seeing what I'm doing. Yeah, happy with that. So there we are, another cheap and cheerful Chinese import that seems to be working well, and it's already making a difference on the bandsaw, certainly on things that I've done. So hope it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be on to something different, and I'll see you then. Bye.